Hi, everybody. This is Mr. Rodriguez, and today we are talking about how good readers ask questions while they are reading. So, we've tried this last week, so today will be quite a bit of a refresher to get a sense of when could you ask a question while reading and what types of question could you ask while you're reading. Again, questions are a good way to stay involved with what you're reading and make sure that you are engaged with what you're reading. It helps you maybe connect to a character a little better, think about something that happened in the story a little more in depth. It's just a good way to make sure we're thinking while we're reading. So all we need is a highlighter. That way, when I have a question, I'll know where that question came from and something to write with. That way I can write my question down as it pops up. So I'll do a few examples and then we will go on from there. A lot of you may have read this story called My First Crush, about a girl who has a really big crush on a boy, and she tries to get him to go to the dance with her. So as I'm reading, I'm going to jot down when a question comes to mind, either about a character or something that happened. Okay, paragraph 1. I remember it like it was yesterday. I walked into 7th grade and found that my homeroom teacher, Mrs. Jefferson, had placed me next to my crush, Michael. He was the tallest 8th grader in the whole school. He was taller than a tower. His smile sparkled like a gem, and he had the kindest eyes that looked like $1,000,000. So I already have a question here when she says, place me next to my crush. So I'm going to highlight there because that is the moment that I start to wonder something. Based off of that, I'm going to write down, will they start talking? And I'm wondering, will they start talking because they're sitting next to each other? So I'm curious to know, how is this relationship going to play out? Is anything going to happen between them two? Paragraph 2. I knew that if I wanted to catch his attention, I would have to try hard since many girls were always after him. Flirting wouldn't work. Smiling wouldn't work. I needed to do something more. So I have 2 questions right here. One moment when she says, girls were always after him. So my question there about this character is, if girls were always after him, how does he treat girls? I wonder if he's nice. I wonder if he's honest. So I'm going to write that down. How does he treat girls? And because I have a few questions here, I'm going to just draw an arrow to this moment. That way I know that my question here, how does he treat girls, is related to this specific line here. And my last question from this paragraph is when she says something more. So I'm going to wonder here. So what will she try? Because she says she has to do so much, I wonder, what is she going to actually try? I'm starting to get these ideas of what she may try, so let me read on and find out. So every day I came to school and put on tons of makeup. I would bat my eyelashes at Michael and make it a point to laugh at all of his jokes. His jokes were not funny, but I just had to show that I was into him. Pretty soon, I saw that he started to smile back at me. So now that I'm reading this again, I have another question about what she's doing here. When she says, laugh at all of his jokes, I'm picturing this in my mind, how she's sitting there laughing so much. So I'm starting to wonder, does he believe her? Because if she's laughing at everything, that may come off as a little fake. It may come off like she's trying too hard, which we know she actually is. And my last question here, smile back at me. This is something that catches my attention when he's smiling at her. Does he like her? Right? I'm wondering if this is even working out the way that she thinks it is. So as you notice, when I'm reading My First Crush, at different moments, different questions come to mind. And what I'm doing is highlighting where those moments are. That way I can tell myself what pops out. And I'm writing down what my question is. I'll do one last example. When it was time for homecoming, I wanted him to ask me to the dance. To my surprise, he did. I went home and bought the perfect dress. It sparkled like the midnight moon and made me look so pretty. I spent $300 on getting my hair styled and $200 on my makeup. I was going to be the prettiest girl around with the most handsome guy around. So my last question as an example here is related to this money. And that grabs my attention because that's quite a bit of money. So by her spending all this money, I'm wondering, will this even be... I'm thinking to myself, she's in middle school and she's getting all this money from somewhere. I don't even know if this date is going to work out. So my question is, will this even be worth it? And I'm going to just connect to the money there because that's what I'm questioning. So you see, there's no right or wrong answer here. This is a question that we come up with individually in our minds. So what you're going to do next is continue reading My First Crush again. And as you read, come up with 5 more questions. So we just came up with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So all you've got to do now is continue reading the story, highlight when you have a question, and write down what that question is. And it can be about a character, it can be about something that occurs in the story, it can be about something just that strikes your mind. Any moment can provide a question for you. Okay, so now go ahead and grab your copy of My First Crush, and you're asking yourself 5 more questions.